Live on Facebook.
Yep.
Well, hey, Jeremy Williams, how are you doing today?
Yeah, technology is a beautiful thing, Rick. It's going great. How about yourself?
Doing dynamite, man. All's good on our end. Having a great day today. Just trying to work through the days of contracts and inspection reports and leads and lead flow and agent questions and
Sounds like
all
you're
kinds
doing
of
the
fun
thing
stuff.
agents. It sounds like you're doing the things agents should be doing.
Well, it's interesting. It's that at the end of the day, we're all trying to get through the day for various reasons. But what's funny is that there's always the distraction. There's always the thing that pops up. How do you handle it? And that's where we're working hard to try to figure that out, so to speak. But at the end of the day, it's all good. So
Yes. Just
yeah.
about taking action. Exactly.
Yep. Yep.
Beautiful.
Well, there's a lot of things going on today in the world of real estate. A lot of good stuff going on for not only what we've got going on with our team, what you've got going on with coaching. And, for those of you that are coming on board, just want to let everybody know that Jeremy Williams is our team's coach. He coaches our agents on our team, and he's also doing some one-on-one coaching with our team leader, Ashley Singletary. And we're hitting their stride. Where springtime's coming in. You've developed a lot of stuff through the winter months, and we're hoping spring's going to kick it in. So thank you for that. But why don't you take a couple minutes and tell everybody what you do for a living?
So I coach. I coach real estate agents. I also coach small businesses, and I've been a coach now for 9 years. I've been out on my own for about a year and a half now, and started 2000 back in 2004 in sales. Sold for about 6 years, and then moved into a leadership role with a previous brokerage that I've since left. And in that time, picked up how to coach agents and how to coach them at a very, very high level. So I've worked with agents that are brand new to the business. I've worked with agents that are closing 30, 40, $50 million a year in close production and building teams. And so I've watched over thousands of transactions. I've helped agents. It's countless the number of agents that I've been able to work with over the years. So taking all that experience now and going out on my own and really focusing on creating a personalized experience, coaching experience for each one of my clients. It's not a cookie cutter thing, because I don't believe we run cookie cutter businesses. And
That's true.
so been pretty excited about it and have a lot of success over the last year and a half with it as well.
What kind of, I mean, you've got a long history in real estate as an agent, and then shifting gears into coaching. What was the trigger for you to shift categories, so to speak?
I just looking at coaching and coaching small businesses, it all really boils down to a lot of the same things. We've all got to lead generate. If you're in a small business and you're saying lead generation is not a part of my business, you're lying, or at least lying to yourself. Managing our time at a high level. There's all these time bandits that are out there trying to steal our time and pull us away from the things that are actually bringing us productivity in our businesses, whether it's a real estate business or a mortgage person, or I'm even coaching a transaction coordinator right now. I've coached an insurance agency. They all deal with the same things when it comes down to the basics of running the business. And one of the biggest ones, I think, is managing time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting. So I asked a question today that I thought was pretty interesting, and you kind of chimed in, and I appreciate it. But relationships versus technology, which is more important for our business model? And it's interesting, the various responses and all that and stuff. And me, I've always been one to dive deep into the relationship side of it and use technology as kind of a support factor. But it's interesting that so many people today are shifting into this reliability, that somehow or another technology is going to be the game changer in the life support system. And I know it's important, but I just don't think it's the most important part of our business. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've seen, especially the last week, and a lot of my friends over at KW, that's great for them. I'm excited. There's some big technology moves that they're making, and I'm glad that they're doing it. They're working to attempt to take back the industry, which we've given away to companies like Zillow and I think Zillow's not going to be as bad as when Google steps into the game and Amazon, which I have no doubt they're going to sometime get into it. So, I applaud them for doing that. Other companies, I've got my affiliation with EXP and, what they're doing with virtual worlds, cloud-based business, using programs like KV Core. They're really, really powerful tools to be able to help agents in that area. I was talking to a Remax agent the other day. Remax is working on building, their own platform and looking at getting into AI and some of the other things. And so, there's been this huge push to get out in front of where I think the consumer wants to be. I look at companies like Netflix, right? Used to, the big thing was let's go to a movie on a Friday night and get some popcorn and drinks, and you end up spending $50, to go watch a show that it usually ended up sucking.
Yeah.
Now you can just pull it up on Netflix and sit there and watch it from the comfort of your home. It's really kind of revolutionized the whole movie watching thing. David or Spielberg came out the other day and said, we really need to make sure that we keep the movie theaters alive. When you got somebody like that coming out, it's a change, not just in real estate, it's a change in the way that everybody's doing business. Yet our business is still relationship based. Now, where does technology fall into that? I think technology is one of those things, and I appreciate you commenting back on what I said this morning, because I said relationships. Mm-hmm. And then technology to build them, and you're like, well, can't you use technology to build relationships? And absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think it's some of my greatest relationships that I've built. It started out, I really didn't know the person other than I met them through Facebook.
Yeah.
Yet, I'm really big at, when I'm coaching individuals, talking about taking the relationships from online to offline. And so I don't think it really becomes a relationship until you can get it to that point, yet it may start with technology.
Yeah.
But in the end, it all comes back down to, do we have a relationship with the person? Real estate is one of those, people are still going to want to deal with people they know, love, and trust. And are we getting in front of them? Technology may be able to put us in front and give us more at bats. Yet, at the end of the day, what I find most of my coaching clients is that they're going to get in a relationship, belly to belly, face to face, phone calls, door knocking, open houses, but they're utilizing then technology for the follow-ups, the development of the relationship, the supplying the value,
well, it's supplemental.
It's supplemental. It's the term that I've heard called tech enabled. The tech enabled agent. I think that's, if the real estate agent wants to be successful with the technology changes that are happening, they have to be tech enebled, because the tech is only as good as the implementer. You can have the greatest tech in the world, but if you can't implement the thing, might as well just go back to using Google or Outlook.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, man, what's really interesting for me in all this type of stuff is that agents, the real estate game today is really no different than it was 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's all in who you know, right? So you've got to either be in the right place for the relocation coordinators. You've got to work for a company that says, hey, we're gonna do more business that way. And I think that's part of the saving grace for some of the more brick and mortar offices, because that's their connection, and it's important for them. And so they do a lot of work to maintain that relationship side of things, right? So, but at the end of the day, you're involved in the church. You've got people moving around. You've got, it's just interesting is that's still such a very, very valuable portion of your business. When we looked at it, and the good portion of it was all past clients and referrals, people coming back for more opportunities. So technology, in my mind, is big. I think the level playing field still goes back to how many people are you going to be in a relationship with? How many true friends are you going to have that are going to call you as their agent?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's it's almost fabricated that we're in this technology crisis, right? Sometimes I think it's made to be bigger than it actually is, and there's a bunch of different reasons for that. I believe. I think at the end of the day, the relationship is still key. It's building that database. Used to, you could have a really successful business with like 500 people in your database. I don't think that's no, that's no longer the case. I think you really need to be at 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people that you're working with and being consistent with, especially with your marketing and your core advocates and your sphere of influence with past clients. Staying in touch with them. And then once you have that database built, is go dig a moat around it, throw a bunch of alligators and great white sharks in it, and don't let anybody into that space. It's yours. Own it.
Yeah. Well, in the reality of it is that that if you look at we were having a conversation, is like, what's the win number for most people? Like, right? What's the success number? And you hover between that 24 and 40 is kind of like I'll call the agent sweet spot. You can manage 24 transactions a year and still work really hard managing your database and still have a significant level of income. To get to that 36 to 40 transactions, now you're in a spot where you've got to have support and help. And then the leverage side of it comes into play, and then it starts snowballing into the whole team side of things. But at the end of the day, teams that are saying, oh, well, we sold 300 homes last year. Well, I mean, you didn't. You might have been responsible for that. But at the end of the day, you've got people on your team that are helping you get to those numbers, and they're only capable of a specific number of transactions.
Yeah, right? I remember, Rick. I went to a conference one time, and there was a person on stage, and 32 million. That was back then. That was big. I mean, 32 million was like, holy cow, how did that happen? Now that's a drop in the bucket. You don't get recognized. You might have to stand up, and that's your recognition. Yet, when I looked at that, I started to ask a lot of questions. How many people are involved? How many? What's their administrative support look like? It ended up being like 18 people on this team. So if you take the 32 million divided by 18, what do you get?
Yeah,
it's a bunch of broke people. Yeah, but you put it all together, and it looks really significant. And so I talk to that about with my teams all the time. Is look at your net. What is your net? Does your net make sense? Does it make sense to even have a team, right? Sometimes we can have egos and everything else, and we get these really big numbers. But then when we go at the end of the day, we pay our brokers, we pay our splits, we pay for our marketing and our expenses and everything else, and all the other headaches that come along with it. Did it really make sense to have a team to begin with? Yeah.
Well, which brings up a pretty good question. I think some of the things that you and I've learned from our experience with Keller Williams, and I came from the Prudential side of things as well, so I still have some things today that I do that I learned from that. And then everybody will say that you're a product of your past, and so I mean I've got car experience, I've got nightclub experience, I mean I've got tow truck experience. So I mean I've got a lot of things that have enabled me to be better at the negotiation side of stuff. But what I find interesting is that most agents today, when you start talking to them about how they're structured, and you as a coach, I'm sure you talk to them about this, but profitability. Where are we in the profitability of our business? And so a guy that's doing $38 million a year with 10 people, I mean that's pretty decent. But I mean if a guy's doing 30 million with 15 people, then there's trouble there, right? To maintain all that. So what are some of the things that the first things that you dive into with a coaching client, to kind of get them balanced out and ready to go out into the world and sell real estate?
Well, I think if it's somebody that has the ambition of building a team, and I'm all about leverage. I love teams from that aspect, is because you can't, sometimes you give up a little bit, but you also get back some freedom and some time. And yeah. And so, as I'm coaching an agent that's getting to that breaking point, that individual agent, I think truly the first hire, a lot of people will say hire an assistant. My first hire would be a transaction coordinator. And I just got through interviewing a great transaction coordinator that I coached today. It'll be on my Facebook page if you want to go watch it later. But hiring that first person to leverage off just the paperwork part. And you'd be surprised how much further you could go in your business by just eliminating that. And then your first hire would be an assistant. But I see people all the time that want to go get buyer's agents, yet there's not enough business being driven in quite yet, and they go and they hire maybe too prematurely, or they hire they feel the pressure and they hire out of necessity, and they don't take the time to hire the right person. So like, yeah, I've got a couple teams. I'm like, you got to slow your roll, right? You're getting too far out in front, and you're just hiring people, and you're not hiring the right people.
Right.
And so I think with those people that I'm would be coaching that are have that aspiration. First, why do you even want to have a team? That's the first question. You've got to have a why. There's a great book out there by Simon Sinek, Start with Why. I think it's absolutely true, especially when it comes to team building. Is first of all, why would you even do it?
Right.
And then answer all the other questions. And
Yeah.
if you choose to go down that path, then really have a plan, like lay it out on paper and say, okay, by this time I want to have this many or this person, and by this time I want to have this person, and a lot of that's going to be around transactional units. How many units are coming in at that time? Because that's going to relate directly to gross commission income, which that goes to help pay and offset some of the expenses you're going to be taking on.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a hire a transaction coordinator, hire an assistant, and then slow your roll and make sure you're getting the right people. And then always build your bench, because you might get 3 months in and realize, okay, that's not the right person.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because we've had several people that have come into on our team, and we've worked through it, and for whatever reason they weren't right fits. It makes me feel bad when it doesn't work out, because I want success for everybody, but I totally get things are everybody's got their different things that they want to try to accomplish, and I've learned that I can't take it personally, because that was a hard thing.
What I tell people is the business can't have a heart. You as a person, absolutely 100%. And we're going to care and love on those people. Yet when we realize that the visions aren't in alignment, from the business side of things, it's like, okay, it's just not working anymore. And sometimes we let the person, and the personal and the heart, we want to be able to make everything work. And it sometimes is hard to make that decision to move somebody on, yet it's probably the best decision for both that person and you as the team lead.
Right. Well, it goes back to what everybody's got their own lifestyle they want to live, and just trying to create those right balances has always been something fun for us. I mean, as far as what are some of the craziest coaching challenge, without obviously giving up a lot of things, but what are some of the things that people have come to you and said, hey, I really want to go in this direction, that you thought, oh my gosh, I've really got to work hard to talk them off this ledge?
I've had people want to expand really quickly.
Yeah.
Hey, expansion's cool. Let's go try it. And I'm like, I've actually been in that world. It's not an easy world. You can't throw it against the wall and make it stick. It's something that's got to be a little more methodical. And I've seen where it works, but it's usually, people that have really established their business in that place. It's super strong. The core of it, the often call it the hub. And then they go out and they kind of ooze out into different areas and start building and replicating that.
Yeah.
So, coaching people off the cliff from making, decisions really quickly like that. Oh my gosh, if I start talking about the other stuff, I'll divulge too much. I've coached on everything, not just business, but life. And that's one of the things I as a coach, I do get into the life stuff, because if your life's not going right, guess what's happening to your business?
Yeah.
It's not going right either.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not afraid to go into the weeds. I will get to a point where I say, okay, I'm no longer qualified for that. You need to go talk to somebody.
Yeah. You need to go talk to your therapist.
Yeah. And I've got references. I've learned how to have those in place. And because there just gets to a point where I can't help them anymore beyond that. And I really don't coach beyond that. So, going into life stuff, I have no problem with, because if you don't deal with life, you're probably not dealing well with business.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Well, I'm a shiny object guy, as you know. It's like I want tools and technology, and I want all of it to work for me. And it's kind of funny to kind of think of all the things that we've done and failed through the years, and tried this and then like, ooh, that didn't work. And so anyway, it's just interesting that real estate's always evolving. But where do you go for your emotional support so that you can pass that on to people that you're coaching? I mean, obviously, from knowing what's going on in the industry is important, but it all boils down to similarities. Certain things will produce certain results, but we still need to know like what's going on in the world. So where do you go to find your inspiration?
Gosh, I go to church.
You go to church? That's good.
Yeah, every Sunday, my
Good stuff
pastor.
in there.
Yeah, my pastor is like my second coach. I have a coach myself, and that helps to be able to go leverage and lean on him. And his coach is a person by the name of Hank Avink. And so, and I've got my own little world of coaches, kind of scattered throughout the country that, I lean in on with different experiences and see, how they coach through that experience. As far as industry, I pay attention, I watch it, I read it, I study it, I live it, I breathe it. I'm not affiliated with KW, but I spent a lot of time last week, dedicating some blocks of time just to go and look and see, what they were announcing, what they were doing, because I coach a lot of KW clients. Mm-hmm. And so it's important for me to be a student of what I'm also coaching.
Yeah.
I got to go out there and make sure that I know what's going on, how to get out in front of that, and be able to come back and share that information, digest it to make it something that my coaching clients can now take and now go out and implement.
Yeah. Well, which brings us to another scenario is like, being prepared for all the things that are coming on. I mean, coaching that the coming from MAPS, coming from Club Wealth, both dynamite experiences, having opportunity to share and learn from you as well has been a big blessing. It's interesting that the commonality in all of this stuff is all involving scheduling, right? That everything has to be scheduled. And I can remember, Gary Keller several times talking about the scheduling side of things is how many hours are you lead generating? And is it time blocked? And if you've got to protect that time. What would you say, even with your coaching clients and people, how many people really protect their time?
Not a lot. And a lot of times it's excuses. I'll hear, well, I had to go do this, or I had a client, or I had a closing. It's still an excuse. If we really took control of our time, we wouldn't have that always happen. We wouldn't have to move stuff around. Now, saying that, there are going to be times where you do have to move stuff. Yet, if you're not 90%, 95% of the time following a schedule, what you will end up finding is that you kind of hit the ceiling. And you're not getting anywhere any faster, and there's a lot of frustration around that.
Right.
And it's because you're allowing everybody in the outside world now to control your schedule. I was coaching somebody on schedules today, and it was like a light bulb went off when I told them, I said, I want you to schedule 10 1.5-hour appointments Monday through Friday. And then when somebody calls and says, I'd like to go look at a home right now, you can say, well, great. I have an appointment at 1. I've got one at 3 today. I've got one tomorrow at 10. I've got one Wednesday at 6, and provide them options, but those are already pre-planned options, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still giving them a choice. So the consumer feels like, okay, they're being attentive to me, and you are. Here's the thing is, when you start running your business like that, when you go for that hour and a half, you're not on your phone, you're not doing anything else. Your 100% attention is on them during that time, because that's what you have blocked.
Yeah.
And so your customer service level goes up. Mm-hmm. It's amazing how it changes your life. And then you're not finding yourself, oh, well, for me, it's like I've got a very blocked schedule. Somebody says, hey, I want to do a coaching consult at 5. I'm like, sorry, I'm looking at my calendar. Today is Logan's Taekwondo. I go to all his Taekwondo classes, but I have time here. Which one of those work? Mm-hmm. And I never have anybody say, well, that's not going to work. They'll pick one of the times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I think managing our time is huge. And I think that's where agents give up too much on that. They don't hold the line.
Well, it starts with the schedule, and then it's just a matter of filling it in, right? So, if I'm gonna do this, what do you say to a client that always seems to have distractions, that's they're semi-successful, and they use the success as the reason for their distractions. Well, I've got all this going on, and and I'm having to readjust all the time. So I just leave my account. I just come in and I just work. What would you tell that guy or girl? I'm asking for a friend.
I think I'd ask him how that's working for him.
Yeah, and I'm asking for a friend, by the way.
So. Yeah, you're asking for a friend. I'd ask him how that's working for him, because if you're doing that, you're probably burning the candle at both ends of the stick, and you can only maintain that so long. And I've had coaching clients where we've had to have conversations around that, where they don't show up on the coaching appointment because they've got to go show a home, and that takes precedence over the coaching appointment, which is going to help them keep developing their business. And I see it happen a lot, and to me, it's just kind of sad, because I know next month or two we're going to be having conversations about, okay, well, I don't have any business.
Yeah,
they went out, they sacrificed the business of tomorrow by working on the business of the day. Mm-hmm. And so I see that a lot, and I just say, you gotta hold the line, right? I always think of when I think of hold the line, I think of, if you remember the story at the Alamo where William B. Travis, came out and he had a sword and, kind of drew the line out and said, if you're with me, come stand in line. I think we've got to do that more in our business. We've got to draw that line in the sand and say, you know what, I'm going to take a stand here. And it's a stand not just for my business, but it's for, they've got family. It's a stand for the family and everything else. So, we talk a lot about the business, but we don't talk about the behind the scenes, what's happening at home.
Yeah. Well, that's really important. Well, how do you convert some of that into future self, right? So, I mean, you're great at future self conversations. What are some of the game plans for success when it comes to that, right? What does that look like for you? I mean,
I think future, when you have a conversation about future self, it's about possibilities, right? And it's, where do you see yourself in 3 years and 5 years and 10 years and even 100 years? And they're like, 100 years, I'm dead. And like, yeah, but what are you leaving behind? What's your legacy? And I think sometimes we get so caught in, going back to what we're just talking about, we get so caught up in the business of today that we don't even think about those opportunities, down the road. And so I think it's really important that we have those conversations and that we're having those possibility conversations, because it gets you to think a whole lot differently about what's happening right now. Mm-hmm. Right? We get stuck too much in the now. We're focused on, I've got to get this contract written and submitted before 2, because I've got a listing appointment at 3. Mm-hmm. And we're just running aimlessly, and look like a chicken with our head cut off, basically.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt that we're running around with a chicken with our head cut off. I would say, even from just future planning, I think people aren't really putting down their true goals. Like, what's their big rock? What's their why? They're not creating the river that's going to allow them to go, to cut through everything to get where they want to go. And it's funny how many people we have conversations with today, and you ask them, well, what's that strategy look like? And and that's across brokerages. That's not in any one thing or in others. Like, they don't really know. And I tell you, it's one of the things that at 55, for me, it's really becoming a reality, and it's a conversation that you've got to have. Even at some of the other brokers, you've got you have to be able, in my mind, talk to an agent about setting money aside for those rainy days, and even following Dave Ramsey's rule of having 6 months in savings. I mean, there's periods of time where we even drop the ball on that. It's like, man, crap it all. You get really comfortable and complacent, then all of a sudden it just starts to pile up on you again. So it's difficult.
Yeah, I think in talking with a lot of real estate agents over the years, it's amazing how many of them don't even pay their taxes on time, and they don't follow the extensions, and all that stuff comes back to haunt them, financially. One of the biggest things I encourage is, as a real estate agent, is hire a coach, and then go hire an accountant. You've got to start looking at financial planning, whether that's you're investing in real estate, you're investing in stocks, you're looking at passive income, you're maybe starting another business, whatever the case may be. You've got to look at, okay, what's the end all game plan, and what are the things that are going to support me to get there? Because it might take more than just your real estate business. The other thing too, and it's funny when you talk about goals, is especially, and you may deal with this being a team lead, and it's when you go and you ask your team, okay, what's your individual goal and how are you going to contribute to the team, and they give you a goal that they know you want to hear, yet their real goal is completely different. They may say, yeah, I'm going to do 50, and then really their goal is like, if they could get to 25, awesome. And so sometimes I think it's about being transparent and really asking yourself, what is my goal? Not to satisfy this person or that person or that person or my spouse, or what is my goal? What am I willing to commit to? Because sometimes when we start giving these goals that others want to hear, then if we don't hit it, how do we feel?
Yeah,
it's a pretty crappy feeling. And there's agents that's last year they did 6 and this year they want to do 50. Well, I'm going to support that 100%, but tell me what you're going to do differently as far as your activities to get you from 6 to 50. Because if you did exactly what you did last year, and unless you had a come to Jesus moment and you've had all these habit changes like overnight, the likelihood of you going from 6 to 50 is pretty slim. So tell me what you're going to do differently. And so when I talk with goals, I like to interrogate on that to find out, okay, is that the real goal?
Yeah.
The real number.
Well, it goes back to your sign up there. If you want something you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done, right? And are you willing to do it? What do you think about all these inspirational memes that are being flown around? I mean, it's like every day you wake up, there's everybody's. I look at it from a couple of different things. Either a bunch of sick people out here trying to figure out how to get better, or we really are getting better, and people are spreading a lot of stuff out there. So it's like every time you turn around, somebody's got some other inspirational piece online for us.
I think I look at it a couple different ways. I think it's good. I think it's good that there's something positive out there. There's too much negative stuff, so it's kind of good to read some of that stuff that's positive. I think of what's happening behind the curtain. Is this really what's happening in this person's life? Probably not. It's probably a crap hole. They're putting it out there. So, I don't know if there's a lot of honesty in it, a lot of transparency with it. And here's the thing with coaching is I had somebody that, they said they fired me. I really fired them. And they said that I should have been more inspirational, more motivational. That's my job as a coach. They're telling me what I should be doing. And I look at that and it was my fault. Here's where my DNA was on it, was I probably didn't set the expectation. And, the expectation is to challenge and to push and to, sometimes to motivate. Yet here's the thing, and this is the biggest one. I want you to hold me accountable. I'm like, okay, I can't hold you accountable, right? I can't hold somebody accountable that's not accountable to themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So we got to start there. You got to start having honest conversations with yourself, your spouse, your kids, right? What type of self-talk do you have every day, right? Until all of that's straightened out, I can't hold you accountable. I can motivate you, but it's only going to be temporary.
Right.
Yay, let's get excited, and you walk out the door and the world hits you. Here's reality.
Yeah.
And so it's funny you bring that up, because I see that every day, and sometimes I just chuckle. Sometimes I create my own memes, but most of the time the memes are more of a question that gets you to look internally and think as opposed to motivate. I don't want to say I demotivate people, yet sometimes I think we really have to get transparent with who we are and what we want.
Yeah.
If we don't do that, and we're trying to live to everybody else's standards, we're competing against everybody else. We're our only competition.
Yeah.
I think we got to get right with ourselves first.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's comical to me to see all of the agents today that are really just trying to fit into the business, and they really don't know what direction they're going in, and they just kind of, hey, I want to live in this small little world, and I'm unwilling to do this, and I'm unwilling to do that. And how many people are in business for themselves, but their Facebook business pages are really just short-sighted. And it's like small things, and it drives me crazy. I'm sure it drives you when you're looking through people's sites and you go, oh, they could do better, right? If they just did something a little bit, they could do better. But we can't change it. They've got to do it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. We often look out and we're trying to find that magic pill, or we think that it can change, our whole process can change overnight. And I always, when I'm talking to my coaching clients, I always let them know it's a process.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come strike you with a bolt of lightning. Your life's going to change tomorrow. It's going to be a process, and a lot of it's going to be you changing and adapting and being open-minded. My superpower, I was sharing this today, my superpower is seeing people's blind spots.
Yeah.
And as a coach, I love that part of it, to be able to say, yeah, I've got your 20, but that's not the right way to go. Or you're making a mistake here, slow down here. Or is that really the right person you need to bring into your world? And, that's my superpower, is to have that 30,000 foot elevation looking down and saying, okay, what's really happening here? And I think people will use social media to go out and kind of they think that's going to be the solution. For me personally, if I could get rid of social media and not have to communicate on it at all, I would.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those, it's a necessary evil. It's how we communicate today. Look at my daughter, she's going to be turning 13 here. The only way to either get her is through a text or a Snapchat. And I am not an expert on Snapchat by any means. So, but it's just the way that our world communicates today. Some of it's healthy and some of it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
A lot of it's unhealthy.
Yeah. Are you on TikTok?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I might sign up after this and do a music video or something to send out.
Yeah, you should. You should. Well, what's the thing that really gets you excited about real estate? I mean, at the end of the day, you come in. I mean, what gets you out of bed to get involved with your clients? I mean, what does that do how do you do it?
The thing that excites me is when people hit their goals or surpass their goals. I had a client the other day that called me and told me they're the number one team in their market center. When I have somebody call me and say, hey, remember we talked about the accountability around lead generation and getting to my unit goal so I could take my girls to Disney World.
Yeah.
And they've never been. And just some of those things are some of it's the most thankless job, I'll be honest with you. They're not calling to say thank you. But for me, what fills me up is just seeing it happen.
Yeah.
It gets me up every day. It makes me excited to go find more people to help.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for people to help and find more people, because that's what I want to do. I want to leave an imprint. I want to help other, Red Hawk coaching. I want to help people soar in business and in life.
Yeah.
That's what I get up for every day.
Well, it's interesting. You've got a history behind the name Red Hawk Coaching. You want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, my wife's aunt, she passed away this last year. Finally, as a result of diabetes, a bunch of other things that have been going on, but have been in hospice care for over a year. Her husband, who had passed, was a Falconeer and had a Red Hawk. And so we went up to the hospice care. She was up there in Round Rock, and it was a small house on a street. It was really nice, and probably had 5 or 6 residents in the house and caretakers. And we went up there for Thanksgiving. She really wanted something from the Cracker Barrel, which don't ever go there on Thanksgiving. It's awful. So we got her meal, took it back over to the house, and as we're sitting there, at this point she can no longer see because of the diabetes. I said, "Hey, there's a hawk there," and she goes, "Oh, that's just Marvin. He's watching out for me." She couldn't see it, but it was present. So fast forward, she had passed, and the day that she passed, we had 2 Red Hawks that were flying in and out of our backyard and sitting up on the pool edge and drinking out of the pool. And we never had hawks before. And they stayed around for like the next month. And now, just even this morning, I was driving to drop them off at school, and there's two red-tailed hawks up in the tree that were sitting there. And all I could think of was, that's Lori's aunt and uncle, sitting there and watching us. So
Yeah.
It's kind of cool and spiritual,
Yeah.
and has a lot of meaning to us personally as a family.
Yeah. Well, so are you going to get you the little red hawk, little mohawk to kind of do your commercials with, and just kind of have your little deal going on?
I may have to. And it's funny. I had Chad Himes, Chad Himes, he reached out to me. I guess he was at family reunion, was walking to the inspirational breakfast yesterday morning. He's like, "Hey, do you have a security firm?" It's like, "No, I don't have a security firm. It's Red Hawk Security." And so I just texted him back and just said, "Hey, Red Hawk's going big. You don't know where we're going."
Yeah.
And so I might have to invest in the Mohawk.
Yeah, get you a little hat, little thing that you can wear when you're going on certain things. So, well, with vision boards are really big that we talk about as coaches to coaching clients, right? You talk about the vacations. What are some of the things they're doing? What's on your vision board for 2019?
Beach house.
Beach house. Yeah, there you go.
We want to get something down. We've been talking about it for a while, and there may be some opportunities that are coming up to allow us to be able to do that. And pretty excited about that. It was going to be an 8-year plan, and we're moving it up 7 years. So that's the possible goal, being able to get down to Galveston. And we love being out on the beach. It's not the prettiest water in the world, but just to sit there and watch the kids run up and down the beach and the waves. And they've got great food down there too. If you ever go to Galveston, there's a lot of cool restaurants.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time since I've been down there, but I have been pretty pleased with when we've gone down there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not Caribbean water, but it's water. It's the Gulf. There's some cool things about being down there, no doubt.
And there's great fishing, great redfish down there. Drum. Yeah. I could sit down there and fish all day.
Yeah, outstanding. Well, so you talk about coaching and part of your vision board. I mean, you've got some slots available. I mean, what type of client are you looking for, and what can we do to help you fill up those rest of those coaching slots?
Yeah, so I'm looking to take up to 20. I've got right now 15, and so I've got 5 slots available. And I'm looking to take people that are in growth mode, and that's either as an individual or as a team. But somebody to be open to coaching, I think that's the biggest part. And I do set up, if you go to my website, redhawkcoaching.com, you can set up a 60-minute free business strategy call. And I'm not going to sell you on that call. It's just going to be an opportunity for me to dive into your business, maybe provide you a couple strategies that are going to help you out, to also get to know you and for you to get to know me. And then we could talk about coaching.
Yeah.
It's one of those businesses that if you're not going to engage in it, then you're not going to ever see the benefit from it. So I'm looking for people that are wanting to engage, they're wanting to grow. And it's an investment, and it's an investment into yourself and your family and your legacy. And I get to be a small part of that, which is pretty awesome.
Sweet. Very good. Well, at the end of the day, you're shifting gears into this, you're changing lives, and I'm grateful for the things that you're doing for the agents on our team, and for being a part of our family and our business. We're very appreciative of things and the skill sets that you bring, and I just wish you the best of luck. And I'm grateful to be a partner of yours in EXP. It's been a great transition for us, and I hope that we continue to build upon this as well. But at the end of the day, this relationship is more important, and it trumps everything. So, but thank you for being a friend, and I really appreciate everything that you do, because I know in your heart you're always looking out for us, and that means more to me than anything.
Yeah, Rick, I love coaching. I love coaching your team, just to see the amount of growth. Maybe not in production quite yet, but it's coming. There's a great report this morning, by the way, on all the activity that's happened, and I know it's coming, and I've seen that change in the mindset.
Yeah.
And I see the goals that you have for 2019. I really think they're in your grasp. You might even sell yourself a little bit short. And it's going to be a great year for the Texas Rockstar Group. And I know that not only this year will be good, but with the things that are coming. I love watching what y'all do with your organization that's happening behind the scenes. I know Vanessa works a lot with that. Just you are great people. You are doing great things, and you're helping change lives as well. The people that are on your team, it's an opportunity for you to change their lives.
Yeah,
and it is. And so I think I think we follow a lot of the same paths, and we have a lot of the same thought processes. And it's just been cool to be a part of what you are working to accomplish. Yet I think it's only the beginning. I think there's some bigger things coming. So
yep. Well, I appreciate that. Well, man, looking forward to some bigger opportunities, and I'm always a fan of your success. So thanks for letting us be a part of your hour today and taking some time out to visit with us. And wish you the best. And we'll be in touch very, very soon, I'm sure. So anyway.
All right. Thanks, Rick, and tell Vanessa I said hi.
You bet. Have a great day. Take care, babe.
Bye.